Driving safely requires that you obey the laws as stated because they establish an agreement among all drivers that results in predictable traffic flow and procedures. When you know what other drivers will do and vice versa, the likelihood of collisions is reduced. You may personally object to some laws, but keep in mind that all laws are basically a compromise. So if you find yourself unwilling to follow a law, realize that we need to have agreements in place if we are to drive at all. Let's look at stop and yield signs as basic examples of traffic laws. Why stop completely at stop signs? One compelling reason to stop completely at a stop sign or red light is the guarantee that you won't get a traffic ticket. But the main reason should be to avoid hitting a pedestrian or another vehicle. That's why you stop behind the limit line or at a crosswalk. The U.S. Department of Transportation reports that pedestrians account for 13% of vehicular deaths. The elderly are the most frequent victims, with 38% of their deaths occurring at intersections. That's often because their ability to see and hear and to react and move swiftly has deteriorated. What does yield really mean? When asked to yield, you are expected to allow other vehicles to move ahead of yours. In other words, to give those vehicles the right of way. Yielding is often required where streets cross or merge. As you approach a yield sign, slow down and look at the oncoming traffic flow ahead of and behind you. If the location and speed of other vehicles makes it safe to join their lane, then continue into it. Otherwise, slow down and come to a complete stop if needed. Only proceed when you will not interrupt the flow of traffic. We all share the roads with other drivers, motorcyclists, bicyclists, pedestrians, road workers, and so on. Each person has his or her own needs and limitations. A truck, for instance, takes longer to accelerate and brake than does a car. A loaded tractor trailer, for example, requires between 20% and 40% greater stopping distances than a car. The way for us all to share the roadway is to be aware of others, understanding their needs, and apply the golden rule. Treat others in the same way you would wish others to treat you. Common courtesy is one way of following the golden rule. That means you should let people in front of you when they want to pull into heavy traffic or into your lane. It means you should use your indicator lights to signal your intent, or your horn or emergency flashers to signal your presence or the presence of a hazard ahead.